it's really easy for some knuckleheads to say it's just a representation spot. She's really freaking good, as are all these women.
Yeah.
Like, these are not representation spots. They are at the top of their game here. So, like, just want to point that out.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And you're listening to Raising the Game, a podcast covering the rise in opportunity, visibility, and accessibility of women's sports globally. We're a husband-wife team who are avid sports fans raising two young girls and find the exposure and investment in women's sports a gateway for them and other young girls like them to see their passions for play, performance, and leadership, not as extracurriculars to be added to a resume or a discipline with an expiration date after high school or college, but as a real opportunity to build a career as an athlete, a coach, an analyst, an athletic trainer, a director of sports operations, or maybe even a podcaster.
Each week, we're bringing you the top stories in women's professional and sometimes collegiate sports. We'll highlight primetime performers, key business decisions, economic impacts, and the growing opportunities for women's athletics. You'll hear our perspectives on these stories as fans, but perhaps more importantly as parents who value what these stories mean for our kids. If there is a storyline or topic you'd like to hear us talk about, reach out via email at raisingthegamepod@gmail.com or on social media at rtg_pod.
All right.
We're doing it again.
How we doing?
Doing all right.
I'm just going to preempt this with our audience. I'm coming off of a cold. Over the weekend. So
I might be going into one. So this might
our
be a little
voices
rough.
are a little off. That is why 'tis the season.
Yep.
I'm sure many of you can relate. Before we get into the material for this week's episode, we just got a couple shout outs and things we want to cover ahead of favorite thing. So again, we'll continue to shout this out. Opportunities for community support here in Minneapolis. I know my own kind of experience is that the national news headlines have been dwindling and things like that, but there's still a lot of families who need support. And a lot of ways to give back to the community. So look for some of that information we've been including in our
show notes and YouTube description, things like that.
And continue to support however you see fit. And then two things we completely spaced in our first episode last week in February. We record on Mondays, and Wednesday last week was National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We totally could have done a dedicated episode to that. It's not like we sit here and talk about women's sports all day long. So we missed that. Apologies for not shouting it out, but we celebrated by releasing our podcast episode.
We did.
So there you go. And then we also neglected to mention February is Black History Month. So we wanted to honor all of those Black athletes, Black female athletes who have sort of blazed the trail, especially here in the month of February. And we're going to, in our Olympics segment today, which is almost the entire episode, we're actually going to deep dive a little bit on all of the Black female athletes that are making up Team USA at the Milano Cortina.
I'm excited.
Games in 2026. So,
favorite thing?
If you're ready, you go first. I gotta think.
Okay.
Oh wait, I think I have a lot actually.
I mean, I think I'll take the easy way out here. I mean, not the easy way out. It was my favorite thing. I was really enjoying the mixed doubles curling that we were watching on Saturday or Sunday. They were getting into some trouble kind of early on in that game against the UK, Great Britain there. Ended up, I think, losing that one, but then came back against, was that Sweden they came back against? They had a pretty tight game there, but a good victory.
I think it was Italy, because then they had to play Italy again today in the semis.
Oh, okay.
And they won. And I jumped up off the couch when they won. Was working, obviously. I was reading Alex like a tweet or a thread or whatever the things are these days of like how you turn on curling in the Olympics And for the first 30 seconds, you're like, this is boring.
I don't
And
get
then
it.
like 10 minutes in, you're like making calls. And then 30 minutes in, you're like, why didn't you hit that shot?
Yeah, exactly.
And then by the end, you're just like, totally in it with the team. It's one of those sports that they do a great job. The announcers do of informing, but also like commentating at a level that like an expert kind of would. So you kind of know as you're watching, like, oh, this is good or this is bad.
Yeah. It sometimes kind of feels like they kind of do like the Tony Romo a little bit, or like the Tom Brady, like I would do this right here, and this is how I would set this up, and you hit this, and it's like okay, cool. You kind of understand what the strategy is here.
Yeah. So as Alex was starting to share that, I was like, well, duh, the Olympics officially started. Yeah. So like, that's my favorite thing. Our whole episode today is primarily focused on the Olympics. We're going to be talking about all kinds of different storylines coming out of the first full weekend of the 2026 Winter Games. I think for me, just watching these performances, we've gotten to see Team USA play a few hockey games so far. There's some incredible, one of the things I love about the Olympics is the storylines. Like Alex was listening to me gush over the weekend about how inspiring these stories are. They do such a great job. NBC does such a great job of like capturing these like, behind the scenes moments for these athletes and like really making it personal. And then like, there's this sense of pride that like you can't explain. You become one with the team, and it's really the only sporting event where I think there's an ad for something that they're running right now. It might be for the Olympics, quite frankly. Yeah. Where they're showing like a bunch of rivalry fans, like a Boston Red Sox fan gets on the subway with the Yankees fan and the Celtics
Everyone's
and the
kind
Lakers.
of looking at you like glaring at each other.
Yeah, and then like you turn on the Olympics and it's like we're all fans
we're all
of the team. So
for sure.
I think that's really, really fun. So with that,
going to the headlines.
Should we pivot into headlines?
Let's do it. All right. New LPGA Commissioner Craig Kessler apologizes for how the Hilton Grand Vacation Tournament of Champions ended. We talked about this last week. Ended because of cold weather in Florida in January.
Yeah. So it was 30 degrees, which is that's pretty cold for Florida. And what I read was there were concerns about the ground being frozen, right? And then that affects the players' shots. It affects how the ball is going to run on the green and things like that. But there were a number of players. So you had Annika Sorenstam, who's like an LPGA greatest of all time, probably one of the greatest of all time in women's golf, in all golf. And she was playing in the celebrity tournament side, and she was like, it was totally playable. Yeah.
And just if you're not from Minnesota, it takes a lot longer than a couple of hours at 30 degrees to freeze the ground. And so, bring in someone who knows a little bit more than you and make decisions based off information.
Well, and the other crazy thing I read was that Kessler wasn't even on site. He was at home in Texas. So he was having to make these calls based off of like information packets and reports from people on the ground. And to his credit, he's like, it was my bad. Yeah. I should have been there. I'm kind of like, why weren't you there for the first tournament of the season?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways.
Yeah, we could drain that.
We could drain that. Let's move on.
Coco Gauff falls from 3 to 5 in world rankings following quarterfinal loss in the Australian Open. Yeah,
there were a couple other shakeups. I think most of the other Americans stayed, relatively. I know I saw Jessica Pegulas held on to her number 6 world ranking. But this was definitely dropped Gauff out of the top 4 for the first time, I think, in 2 or 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
So
Jordan Childs nails a perfect 10 floor routine against Minnesota, set to Minnesota music legend Prince, her 4th 10 in as many weeks. And I think I heard she specifically changed it up just for Minnesota.
She did. So I think she's had this routine. She's done it before. She had been using a different track for her floor routines this season, but she pulled it out. Little tribute to Minnesota. She did a really nice speech after the event was done. Stuck around, signed autographs, took pictures with little girls. Like, just what a true kind of professional and somebody who really understands her platform and her impact that she can have.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Olympic stage, a coming out party for PWHL and specifically USA Hockey. Hopes for bidirectional viewership benefits with Olympics competition drawing fans of the PWHL and vice versa.
Yeah, so I was reading a lot about this, and we'll probably talk a little more about hockey in our next episode because we'll be into the knockout rounds of the tournament for women's ice hockey. But the PWHL, we've talked about in a previous episode here, started 3 years ago. That was after the last Winter Olympics. And so there's now this professional league that's gaining traction in the States. And so you're seeing this kind of push-pull of fans of the Olympics, which used to be like one of the only places you could watch women's professional hockey at this level, right? Coming over and now wanting to watch these players into the PWHL, and then fans who maybe have just kind of glommed onto the PWHL now coming in and tuning in for the Olympics. I'll be really curious to see what viewership numbers are for these games once they start to report those out.
Yeah. Team USA captain and 5-time Olympian Hillary Knight scored her 14th career goal over the weekend, tying Natalie Darwitz and Katie King for the all-time Olympic scoring record. Yeah,
so she's off on a tear. She's got a couple assists too. I think she's got 3 or 4 total points in the tournament so far. They've played 3 games. They are set on a collision course for a tilt against Team Canada tomorrow. Recording this on Monday.
So yesterday.
By the time you hear this, the result will be out for that round robin game. But Hillary Knight looking in really good form. This is going to be her last Olympics. She's my Captain America.
Yeah. WNBA league officials provide counter offer after over 6 weeks of not responding. The offer, according to the front office sports, made marginal changes to revenue sharing percentages with no changes to the system, while conceding on some housing provisions as well as developmental player roster spots.
Yeah, so this is another one we could spend a lot of time talking about. But just briefly, there has not actually been much reporting about what the league provided the union yet. And that makes me think the union is still reviewing. It clearly hasn't been the monumental shift towards the union's ask around revenue sharing, which is disappointing, I know, for the union. There was a lot of chatter that came out after the meeting last Monday. We talked about ad nauseum in our last episode, but about some of the provisions the W has conceded on.
Yep.
And the general public reaction was they're not already getting these benefits.
Yeah.
And so it continues to kind of go back and forth. Now there are some players involved in the negotiations who are optimistic that there is going to be a deal done in time for the season. So that's a little change in tune. I think prior to the meeting last Monday, there was a lot of frustration and maybe not that sense. And but we'll continue to see.
Yeah, and I think I heard one of the players say that it's just going to be the revenue sharing portion, and then everything else they think will fall in place really quickly.
Yeah, President Agumake definitely said that.
Yeah. All right, Unrivaled 1v1 tournament brackets released to take place starting on Wednesday of this week. And I think we have some more information on the What to Watch segment. So
yeah, so excited to watch that. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. UConn women's basketball team wins 20th game by 25 points or more, extend unbeaten streak to 41, 25-0 so far this season, and heavy favorite to win the title.
Yeah, I was looking up their record, and it's absurd. They're averaging something like high 80s for scoring per game, which is a lot. Yeah. They're, just regularly beating. I mean, this is the what is 20th over 25 points. They have games where they're winning by like 40, 50 points, and not against bad teams. Yeah. So I don't see a chink in the armor.
Yeah, and I think one of the stories we talked about last week was like they won by 21 or 24, and Gino was like, it wasn't our best game. It's like
yeah. Well, and they had one over the weekend against Butler where Sarah Strong, their like all-star sophomore forward, was out, and they still won by like 36 or something. Yeah. So good luck.
All right. UCLA women's basketball team extends win streak to 17 games, barely beating conference foe Michigan 69-66. I think this was one of the games we called out for What to Watch last week.
Yes, it was. And I think this could be the team that could contend. They've got
Yeah.
senior Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice out there for UCLA. They featured in last year's NCAA tournament.
Are they in the number 2 spot still?
I believe, yeah, they're
Okay.
still in the number 2 spot. They're pretty firmly in place, in first place in the Big Ten as well. So we'll see. We'll be tuning into that a lot more as we get closer.
Yeah, we're
here
getting
to
really
March.
close here. WNBA Chicago Sky minority owner files lawsuit alleging majority owner Michael Alter breached his fiduciary duty to minority investors by devaluing the team.
This news coming at a time where team owners probably don't need to be making these kinds of headlines.
Yeah.
I also saw that Angel Reese had put out some demands. I don't know if it was in relation to these questions, but she was essentially like, you need to get me a better team around me.
Yeah.
And so this is just a bummer to hear about.
Denver Summit sells 40,000 plus tickets to inaugural home opener, set to break NWSL attendance record.
Insane.
Wild.
They went on sale and they had sold 40,000 within like a couple days. Like it wasn't.
Wow.
It was. People want to watch football.
They playing at Mile High for that first.
They have to because their like temp stadium is like 12,000 or something.
Okay.
So they've got to be doing Mile High or opening up some other venue for them.
All right. Alexi Putellas.
Putellas.
Double L right there. Okay. 2-time Ballon d'Or feminine best FIFA women's player. Did I say it wrong?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm laughing because I feel like I set you up for failure on this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
going on.
There's a lot going on for words here, and I'm not the best word sayer. So, best FIFA women's player and UEFA Women's Player of the Year winner, Spanish national team all-time leading scorer, and Barcelona team captain, debuts first signature Nike boot.
Okay.
And then there's like commas and spaces, and like, am I reading this at the right cadence?
So originally, all it said was Alexia Putellas debuts first Nike boot. And then I was like, we have to talk about how amazing she is.
Yes.
And so I added all of her accolades and made Alex read it without prepping.
Oh, amazing.
They look cool. Go check them out. They're customized. Got a lot of signatures for Alexia. She's known as La Reina in Spanish, for the queen. And so there's some nods to that there. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Record viewership in Brazil for Corinthian Women's Football Club during FIFA Champions Cup with over 1 million concurrent streams.
Yeah, so this was the FIFA Women's Champions Cup. They played Arsenal in the final, and this is huge. I read, too, that this was in competition with a championship game for a club in Brazil, and that this was contending with it for viewership or topping it at certain points too. So huge for women's football, growing globally. So fun to see.
That's awesome. Kansas City Current announces the launch of Teal Rising Academy in Itu, Sao Paulo, Brazil, the first NWSL team to establish an international youth academy presence.
Just more evidence of how this game is going to continues to grow globally.
Yeah. The soccer tournament, TST, is launching a mixed gender event during their summer competition with 16 mixed gender teams and a $1 million purse for the winning team.
This is going to be an event we'll have to talk about. Like, super fun to watch. It's 7v7 soccer. You bring out a bunch of the old guard.
You get like the old guard, but sometimes you get some of like the other sport athletes to play, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I did read Hope Solo is going to be participating in the mixed gender event, which is kind of interesting. She did, the quote I read from her was she was throwing some shade at, unequal pay and things that could get resolved while she was still playing. But it'll be interesting to see her back out on the field.
LA 2028 Olympic soccer venues announced stadiums across America, not just California, including Nashville, Columbus, New York, and St. Louis.
Yeah, so soccer fans, I hope you also can pay for a couple
of
plane
flights.
Tickets.
Yeah. Canadian soccer business announces the acquisition of non-exclusive Canadian media rights to NWSL, in which more than 20 Canadian players currently compete professionally.
Yeah, so that's amazing. Like, they're looking to do full broadcast in Canada. We talked when we did our hockey segment a couple episodes ago about how they are really supportive and do full broadcasts for the hockey teams too up there. So
Yeah, that's
love
right.
to see these broadcast networks getting behind these leagues.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's move over to our Olympics segment here today.
All right. Okay. I am going to get into some fun facts about this Winter Games, but I have to open this segment on a little bit of a surprise for Alex and a monologue for all of you. I love the Olympics.
Mm,
I was trying to think about like why. And I think there's a couple reasons that I've identified, but these events, these 2-week tournaments essentially that happen every 2 years, right? With winter and summer games. There's something about it that is so unique and powerful to me that, like I said, when we were talking about favorite thing, I don't really get from any other sport season.
yeah.
So a couple things for me. I think one is the Olympics for much of my childhood were one of the only ways that you could really see female athletes compete at the highest level. We didn't have a lot of these professional leagues, or if we did, you couldn't really watch them because they didn't have the broadcast deals that they have now. And so I think as a young girl who was very interested in sports, I've loved sports my entire life, being able and really looking forward to these events to see the best of the best do their thing really meant a lot to me. Second thing, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and we were able to go to the 1996 Summer Games when they were hosted in Atlanta. And I think that like fundamentally changed my DNA a little bit. So getting to see, those events live and the kind of the ceremony and the pageantry around the Olympics really made an impression on me. And then, like I said earlier in the episode, the stories that they craft about these athletes and just the grit and commitment and determination that actually has burrowed itself into who I am now. And I think a lot of that came from hearing these stories of these athletes of not giving up, of putting in all the extra time, of really honing your craft. One of my favorite quotes in the world is, whatever you do it well, do it so well that others will go and tell, or people will go and tell others to come watch you do what you do. And to me, that like just so embodies an Olympian. And you want to watch them. Right. So I had to get that out of the way because you're going to hear a lot of passion. I think there's a lot to be said about the IOC and the governing bodies and the need for continued improvements and inclusion and things like that. It doesn't, I never want those opportunities for improvement to take away from what these athletes have achieved to just get to the Olympics, let alone win medals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, now we can dive in a little bit on the 2026 Winter Games. So this is the third Winter Games that Italy has hosted. It's the second time that Cortina has hosted. So Cortina hosted alone in 1956.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that was 70 years ago.
That was 50 years ago.
What?
No, it's just how I feel old saying 70.
It's like I did the math. Yes, that was 70 years ago. And this Olympics in particular, we're continuing to see those barriers broken. So 47% of all athletes this year are women. That is a record for any Olympics. And there are 50 women's events. That is a record for the Winter Olympics. So that number of events for the women. The other thing that I read that was really cool about these Olympics is all Olympians and Paralympians. We'll talk about the Paralympics that follows the Olympics here at the start of March. They will all receive $200,000 in just kind of a fund. And I could not track down who is providing this.
That's every country's Olympians, not just one country? Like it's everyone.
I think so.
Okay.
I need to go look into it, but I thought it was, again, some of these athletes are not, like, if you think about how niche some of these sports are, like they're not making billions doing curling in Duluth, Minnesota.
Or I mean, there's some Chaska folks here from
Chaska
right
Curling Center, right? So I thought that was cool, and something to maybe look into a little bit more, but just to see that support for those athletes. Let's talk a little bit about the business side of things. So their NBC has been chosen as the premier broadcast partner for the Olympics. They signed a deal in 2014, a $7.75 billion deal for all games broadcast, so summer and winter broadcast through 2032. So in 2028, we'll have the summer games in LA here.
Yep.
And then 2032, the winter games, I believe, are in... Wait. 2032 is summer. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Because I'm like, SLC is 2034, but that's after. So anyways, through 2032, the Olympic Committee announced a $3 billion agreement for just recently for the 2034 Salt Lake City Games, Winter Games, and the 2036 Summer Games to be determined where those are going to be held.
Yep.
So all in from 2014 to 2036, that's a over $10 billion, almost $11 billion broadcast deal with NBC. They have been doing the Summer Olympics since 1998. They've been doing the Winter Olympics since 2002. What is really key about this is they have just signed these big contracts, and they are choosing to feature women.
Yeah.
They are choosing to feature female athletes. So when NBC dropped its first kind of main trailer or whatever focus or feature for the Olympics, it happened during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It was all female athletes. It was Lindsey Vonn. It was Alyssa Liu. It was Chloe Kim. It was Michaela Schifrin, right? All these names that we've been talking about here. This is so intentional.
Yeah.
You don't sign multiple billion-dollar contracts and then not intentionally choose the athletes who are going to drive viewership. And what it points to, excuse me, is that women are driving viewership of these sports. So if we take the last two summer games, so Tokyo in 2020 and Paris in 2024, we saw 56 to 60% of primetime coverage geared towards female athletes. So over half of the primetime coverage, when a lot of these are in the various time zones, and so they get clipped down to go into primetime, they are choosing to put the female athletes front and center.
Yeah, and so I feel like a lot of times what people will say is like the demand for it isn't there. And I almost kind of think of the opposite, is that the supply hadn't been there for so long of women's athletics in these games, and they've been trending that way. And so as the supply has increased, it's also the consumption has increased. And I think it's been really interesting to see that they're kind of starting to lead the way in the viewership. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I want to say, I think supply hasn't necessarily been there because it hasn't always been allowed.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So there's always been female athletes doing these things at a really high level. But like we just mentioned, they are adding events for women. They are adding opportunities for them to compete at these tournaments that were originally only for men.
Yeah, supply from broadcast and supply from actual events.
So if we go back to those two games, right, we talked about the viewership in the primetime spots. We also saw the highest social media engagement rate. So during the 2020 Olympics, Simone Biles, who, if you recall, in Tokyo, she withdrew from the tournament. She produced 100 million organic impressions and $2.7 million in social value from one tweet.
Oh my gosh.
One tweet. Okay. You think that marketers and people aren't looking at that going, we should be putting her in our feature.
Exactly.
High performance also during these games. So 67 of the 126 medals won by Team USA during the Paris Olympics were brought home by women.
Amazing.
That's over half if you're doing the math. And high viewership. So two examples of this. 9 million average viewers for the women's soccer gold medal match saw the U.S. take gold over Brazil. 9 million average viewers, right? And then 13 million peak viewership during the women's gymnastics team final, which, if you recall, that was also a big deal in Paris because Simone Biles had come back. You had Jordan Childs, you had Suni Lee, right? You had like this whole slate of really kind of hyped athletes on that gymnastics team. So if you've watched the Olympics at all this Winter Games, you will notice that it is highly geared towards women. The features are, we've seen the Visa ad with Michaela Schifrin and her younger self. When they do like the montages of different athletes, like I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't think I could name, the only male athlete I can name is Corey Dropkin because he's on the mixed curling doubles team with Corey TC.
And he's built. Like,
and
he looks nice.
Yeah, he's built. But I feel like I've heard more men's names from other countries, frankly, than I've heard from Team USA. And that's no shade to the male athletes on Team USA. It's just that there's a clear focus.
Is not really there
on
for
the
them
women.
Right now.
Which is really cool to see. So wanted to start with that. And I think as we think about that representation and the importance of representation for female athletes, it's also really important for us to think about the representation for other minority groups. So as we mentioned at the top, it's Black History Month. There's a record number of Black American women competing in this Winter Games. And so we wanted to do a little bit of a spotlight on each of those. I want to start, though, just by opening it with a little nod to the first Black American woman, and actually I think just Black woman, to win gold was Vanetta Flowers in the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. She won gold in the two-person bobsled. So that was the first gold medal won by a Black American woman in Olympics history.
Wow.
So moving into our 2026 Olympians, got to start with our girl, Laila Edwards. Go Badgers. Laila currently plays for the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where she's a senior. She's a two-time national champion. She is the first Black woman on a national hockey team.
Wow. And
in 2004, so a couple years back, she was named the MVP.
2024.
Thank you. We're losing it a little bit here, folks. 2024, that would not have just been a couple years back. She was named the MVP at the IIHF Women's World Championship. She was the youngest ever to be named MVP. And so far in these games, Laila has showed up. I hear the announcers talk about her all the time. Yep. She has 3 assists so far on Team USA's now 15 goals. Yeah. It was 10 goals when I wrote this. They scored 5 more today. Yeah. She didn't get any points in that game. Just a quick shout. They play their final round robin game. We've mentioned this, but tomorrow, Tuesday.
Yesterday, if you're listening to this.
Yep. It will be, you'll know the results before you listen to this, against Team Canada. USA looks poised to make bracket play, which begins on Friday, 2:13 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the important thing with any of these athletes that we're talking about in this segment, these aren't just, it's really easy for some knuckleheads to say it's just a representation spot. She's really freaking good, as are all these women. Yeah. Like, these are not representation spots. They are at the top of their game here. So just want to point that out.
Yeah, appreciate that. And we're going to talk about like the accolades that these women carry with them into these games, right? And the other thing that you'll notice as we go through this is like the network and the community that they create within the sport. So I'll get to that in just a second. Next on our list, we have Erin Jackson. She is the first Black woman to win individual gold. So Vanetta Flowers won in the two-person bobsled, but Erin Jackson won individual gold at the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing in the 500 meter speed skate. Right. I saw her skate today in the 1,000 meter speed skate. It's not her top event. Her top event is the 500 meters.
Okay.
I think she ended up 6th. She was on the podium for a little while, but then got knocked out by her teammate Brittany Bowe.
Okay.
And then the Dutch came in and set a bunch of records.
Oh my gosh.
Basically, it was insane. It was actually really fun to watch. So back to Erin Jackson, though. She holds 6 national records. So again, going to these aren't just spots to fill. 28 World Cup medals.
Jeez.
16 of those are gold.
She's a baller.
She is a baller. She also had the honor of being the flag bearer at these Winter Olympic Games, which is a huge honor.
Well deserved.
And really fun to see her out there. So if you're looking to watch Erin Edwards in her feature event, the 500 meters, she will be looking to defend her medal on Sunday, February 15th at about 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time.
Is that the race too where there's like 4 or 5 of them racing at once?
Not the 500 meters.
Okay.
No, that's like I was looking at all of the different speed skate events. There's like a mass start one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Crazy. All right, we're going to move now into bobsled. So these next 4 athletes are all bobsled. Some of them do monobob, some of them do 2-woman, some do both. And we'll start with one who does both. Ilana Myers-Taylor. She's a 5-time Olympic medalist in bobsled. She is a 4-time world champion, and she is the most decorated Black Winter Olympian of all time. She's also the mom of 2. She's just one of those 40-year-old working moms that I mentioned last time.
Just being a world-class athlete.
Just being a world-class athlete. See, it's possible, folks.
It is possible.
She is chasing gold at these games. So she has finished on the podium in every race, but never gotten that coveted gold medal. She competes in both the monobob and the 2-woman bobsled. The heats begin on Sunday, February 15th. Monobob finals are going to be on Monday, February 16th, and the 2-woman bob finals, you got to wait all the way until Saturday, February 21st. So I'll repeat that at the end of the next 3 athletes, just if you're looking for an opportunity to watch some bobsled.
Before we move on, I actually had picked out a nugget about her.
Yeah.
A few weeks before the Olympics, she was in a race where the front axle of her sled apparently tore off, I believe.
What?
It almost hit her.
Oh, gosh.
She continued, I think it was the same competition potentially where she got in another crash, had to go to the hospital, and then kept competing.
Oh, my goodness.
It was like an insane weekend of just mishaps or something. But she's a tough cookie. She just kept going.
Well, that's like the level that these athletes are at, right? Like, there's very little that's going to really rattle them off their course, so to speak. And they're used to dealing with those kinds of setbacks, but they're all about getting back up and trying again, as we'll talk about in a couple segments.
All right.
Moving along in our bobsled spotlight, Kasia Love, she started doing bobsled, period, in 2020. So 6 years ago.
Wow.
Made her Olympic debut just 2 years later in Beijing. She just was like, I'm good at this.
Casual, just do this.
What I will point out is a lot of collegiate sprinters convert to bobsled.
I was gonna say, isn't that kind of like the pipeline?
That's
you go
the
from
pipeline.
sprinter to bobsled.
Yeah. So there's a little story in here that I'll get to in a second. So back to Kasia, she won the monobob world championships in 2025. She has 13 career podium finishes, 7 in monobob, 6 in the 2-woman event. And she, like Myers-Taylor, competes in both. So she'll be looking to start her Olympic run here on Sunday, the 15th.
Perfect.
Next up, we've got Azariah Hill. She is the daughter of 2 Olympians. I can't even imagine. Her mom was a track and field athlete, and her dad was an Olympic boxer. She is a Olympic debutante here in the 2026 games. She was recruited to bobsled by her college track and field teammate, Kasia Love.
Kasia Love, right there.
So pretty cool. I think obviously sprinting to get the sled started is a huge part of success in that sport. She was a fourth place finisher at the 2024 World Championships, and she competes in the 2-woman bob.
Okay. I think I had read actually that each one of them had each won a silver medal just like a month prior to the Olympics in 2 separate.
Yeah.
I think Keisha won one, and then a week later.
And probably in like qualifying tournaments and things like that. Yeah. I think I had read that too. And then rounding out our bobsled athletes, we've got Jasmine Jones, also a debutante. She transitioned from sprinting in college into bobsled. She's the mom of 1, and really cool. She is the member of the U.S. Air Force World Class Athlete Program.
Oh, cool.
So not only does she compete for her country, she serves our country as well. Yep. And she's a mom, all around badass. We love to see it. She is going to be in the 2-woman bob events over the next week here. And then our final 2 Black athletes that we're highlighting today are skeleton athletes. So bobsled, you're in a sled, completely covered. Luge, you're laying back on an open sled, completely open. And when you're doing skeleton, you're going to lay on your belly on the sled with your head facing down the track.
Not me.
Not covered at all.
Not me.
So this takes a special type of person, folks. Mystique Rowe. She discovered skeleton through a recruiting email from Ilana Myers-Taylor.
Oh, amazing.
So speaking of that community, right, there's like this outreach that happens where they identify athletes who actually are competing in track and field, usually in college. And they're like, hey, want to come try this? I'm
wondering what that email is like. I think you would have a lot of fun going 90 miles an hour down a
head first
on a sled.
Right. When she went to a rookie camp, she finished top 3 in that rookie camp right out the gate, and then became the first American in 8 years to medal in skeleton at the 2025 World Championships.
She shows up and she's just like, what? Like, it's hard? Like,
I got this. So heats for skeleton, if you dare watch that, begin this Friday, February 13th, with medals being awarded on Saturday, the 14th. Good Valentine's Day viewing party you can do.
Yeah.
And then rounding out our featured athletes here, we have Kelly Curtis. She is the first, was the first Black skeleton athlete for Team USA. She competed at the 2022 games in Beijing. She is also a member of the U.S. Air Force World Class Athlete Program. And as we mentioned before, the heats for that will happen on Friday, the 13th, and then finals will be on Saturday, the 14th. So you can tune in for some of those, support these women who are out there just doing all kinds of awesome things, competing, serving, momming, all the things.
I think I'd seen that Rowe and Curtis had also won some medals just like a little bit before the Olympics here. So they're in peak form. Like, they're top contenders here.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Because they seem like they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of good at what they do, we are going to talk about Team USA's figure skating, the women of the figure skating team. There's been some speculation, headlines, things out there of like, is this the best trio ever at a games? And I mean, remains to be seen. We shall see.
Yeah.
But they have started their tournament off decently well, winning the team event gold. I think I did see an article, Amber Glenn, who I'm going to talk about here in just a minute, didn't think that she performed quite her best in her routine for the team competition. Okay. I think Ilya Malinin on the men's side really kind of brought that home for them. But everybody has to hit a certain level in order for that to happen. So they open the 2026 Olympics with gold in the team event. The individual events will be coming up. We'll talk about when you can watch those in a little bit here. So let's start with Amber Glenn. She's from Plano, Texas. This is her first Olympics. She is the 2025 women's national champion, and she's coming off a record-breaking performance in her short program during qualifiers. So this was actually something we talked about on the podcast when it happened. It was breathtaking and incredible and basically flawless. She really, I find her story really inspiring. She shares a lot kind of about some of the things that she's dealt with. She's had some mental health issues, depression and anxiety. She's dealt with an eating disorder. She is the oldest female individual skater in almost 100 years.
Wow.
At 26. So for those of us who are older than 26, feel older now.
I feel a lot older now.
But as you know, I think it speaks to, she made it here. This is her first Olympics. She's a little bit on the older side for this sport in particular. But what she's kind of had to battle through to get there, and just the commitment to the craft, right? She's also the first openly queer woman to skate for Team USA in the Olympics, excuse me. Okay. So I think she talks a lot about representation and being able to be out there on the world stage and just showing other young girls that, like, no matter who you are, no matter, what it is that's important to you, you can compete at the highest level.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the second side to what you were talking about earlier of, like, they do, like, NBC does a good job of doing, like, those kind of, like, how these people grew up, where they came from. And it's kind of like you get this idea from that anybody can do almost anything. And then you have someone like Amber Glenn who comes out and talks about her battles with depression, eating disorders, and anxiety, things like that. And, like, it's a kind of a second side to that. Like, not everyone who is here is right in the head or has everything figured out. Like, we deal with stuff too. And it's just really cool to see that kind of stuff come out as well.
Yeah. Humanizes them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they're dealing with some of the same stuff that we might deal with. And frankly, potentially under more pressure in some instances. And it's chicken or egg, right? Some of that pressure creates that, but I agree with you. One of her teammates, Alyssa Liu, we've also talked about here on the pod. So she is from the Bay Area in California. She is the reigning world figure skating champion. So Amber Glenn's the national champion. Alyssa Liu is the world champion. So she also has a really interesting story. She actually took time away from the sport for a number of years. At 13, she won the senior U.S. national championship. She's the youngest ever to do that at 13. And then she stepped away from the sport at 16. So she continued to compete for 3 years. After the 2022 Beijing Olympics, she took some time off. She came back in 2024, about 18 years of age, and is now back in the Olympics at 20. It was part of the 2022 bronze medal team in Beijing. So she has a medal to her credit. She is the only member of the female trio for Team USA to have competed in a previous Olympics.
Yeah, I think they were talking, I think it was on Friday, I was in our gym working out and I had it on the team event on, and I think it was the short program that she did. And they kept talking about how she seems so much happier now. I think she that time away really, like, helped her out. They said it's like she's kind of walks around the building and skates on the ice like she's on a cloud. And, like, that is exactly what that routine looked like. Like, I'm not a huge figure skate nerd, but, like, she was phenomenal. Like, it was just perfect.
Yeah. I think, speaking to, like, the time she took away, there's some quotes from her about how, like, she just wanted to be a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine, like, 13 years of age, you're winning this thing. Like, how many years before that did you have to put in to get to that level?
Yep.
And then the expectation gets piled on and you continue to grind on. There's a whole other segment we could go down about specialization and early dedication and how that does. But it's impressive for somebody at the age of 16 to say, nope, I gotta take a break. I'm going to let all of that expectation, all of that kind of fall off my back. And I'm going to step back and do what's right for me. Yeah. Like, I'm just figuring out how to do that, y'all.
Yeah. I'm impressed at that age she could do that. I'm a little bit also impressed by her parents, because a lot of parents might, for better or for mostly worse, probably try to talk them out of it. But, like, if they just came out and were like, I don't know what the story is, but
yeah,
I think that's was probably the hardest thing for her, is to go to her parents and say, I want to stop this.
well, speaks to probably the environment they've created
Yeah,
or
for sure.
whatnot, and the support she felt she had around her. So that's cool to see. And then rounding out our trio here, Isabeau Levito. She is the youngest individual skater on the team at 18 years old. She's a first-time Olympian, as we mentioned. She is the 2023 U.S. champion and 2024 world silver medalist. So no slouch herself. She also is Italian-American. So it's sort of a homecoming for her to be competing. Her mom actually is from Milan. So they're right where she probably has a bunch of family, which is really cool that she's going to get to compete. And maybe there's some folks who probably have never seen her compete live who will get to see that. Yeah. So if you want to catch our women's figure skaters, the singles skating events will begin next Tuesday, the 17th. The short program will happen, and that's around 11:45 Central Time. And then the free skate will happen on Thursday, February 19th around noon as well. So that will be a medal round. You do your short program and then your free skate, and there's points and things like that for you to get to medaling. One final thing from a figure skating perspective, we've mentioned them before, but Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, the ice dance duo. They're the reigning world figure skating champions with 3 total world championships and 7 national titles. They are competing, going for gold. So they have, despite all of those wins, they have not
Never won the gold.
An Olympic medal yet. They have trained together, y'all, since 2011. And Alex and I were watching them the other night, and they're like, she is 26 and he's 25 or something like that. And we're like, wait. So they've been training
since they were 10.
We're like, oh my gosh. They are married. Yeah. That was like a whole thing over the last couple of years of like, are they together?
They did that little thing with their moms. That were
yes. Oh, it's so cute. So they performed actually today, just earlier today, as we're recording this, in the rhythm dance portion of the ice dance event. They are currently in second place behind the French pair of Laurence Fournier-Boudret and Guillaume Cizeron.
That's off to
I'm
you.
Doing my best.
That,
they'll be in second place behind that duo heading into the free dance on Wednesday, February 11th, when this episode comes out.
All right.
So check them out if you get a chance. Most of these happen kind of in the middle of the day is when they're occurring in our local time here. Okay.
Right, moving on for our final kind of feature story in our Olympics segment. One of the goats. The goat.
One of the goats.
The goat.
Probably the goat. So we're going to talk about Lindsey Vonn. There were a lot of opinions over the weekend.
I knew we'd get there. Let's get through the first part and then we can talk about it.
So I wanted to tee this up and speak a little bit to Von's career, and then we're going to talk about sort of what has transpired over the last week and a half and whatnot. So Lindsey Vonn, for those of you who don't know, is from St. Paul, Minnesota. She actually grew up, I think, in the Burnsville area, but they call that St. Paul on the internet. Started skiing at the age of 2. And has just loved it since then, right? As far as achievements go, as Alex mentioned, she is one of the greatest of all time. So she's a 4-time World Cup champion, 2008, 2009, 2010, so 3 years in a row, and then 2012. She has a gold medal in downhill in 2010, excuse me. It's the first for an American woman. She has 3 total Olympic medals. She has a record 8 World Cup season titles in downhill, 5 in Super G, and 3 consecutive titles in the combined event from 2010 to 2012. And she has the 3rd highest super ranking of all skiers. All man.
Like, is that like career?
Yes. Men and women.
We got there.
If you think through, or if you want to kind of have a refresh on her timeline, she retired in 2019 due to injuries, kind of nagging pain and things like that. She came out of retirement in 2024 following a successful knee replacement surgery to become the oldest downhill skiing World Cup champion ever at 41. So last year, the end of the year, she won the World Cup in St. Moritz at 41 years old.
Wow.
When she retired in 2019, only her teammate Michaela Schifrin and a 70s, 80s skiing star Ingmar Stenmark from Sweden have had more victories than Vonn in 2019 when she retired, right? She came back in 2024. So I wanted to tee that up because I really want to head into this with absolutely zero question that she is an elite athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that there was a lot of, just to kind of tee up the rest of the context here, is that she had gotten hurt a week or two before.
Yes.
Airlifted out, was a whole thing. What was it? It was an ACL.
Complete rupture of her ACL. Bone bruise, meniscus torn.
They said she's gonna continue to compete. There were a lot of opinions about should she or shouldn't she. But like you said just a few seconds ago, for me, she's an elite athlete. I know you have a lot to say on this, so I'm not going to steal any of your thunder, but like, they would not be saying that she should or should not compete if she was a man, is what I'm feeling out of this whole thing. And like, personally, I think a lot of the opinions of her, she shouldn't have done this because she ended up crashing. Like, it wasn't about that. It was about her making a choice for herself and what she loves to do. But I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this.
Okay. So Vonn came in with a completely torn ACL. She had a little less than a week between tearing that ACL and having to do training runs. You have to complete a training run to compete in the Olympics. You get 2, you only have to do 1. She did 1. She did her second one, braced up the knee, was fine. A lot of people had opinions about whether or not she should do that. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then on Sunday, when she got to the gate for the downhill, she started her run. She crashed 13 seconds into that run.
Yeah.
And here she just today posted something about this. And I am going to read that and then I'm going to go off.
All right.
So what she said: "My Olympic dream did not finish the way I dreamt it would. It wasn't a storybook ending or a fairy tale. It was just life. I dared to dream and had worked so hard to achieve it. In downhill ski racing, the difference between a strategic line and a catastrophic injury can be as small as 5 inches. I was simply 5 inches too tight on my line when my right arm hooked inside the gate, twisting me and resulted in my crash. My ACL and past injuries had nothing to do with my crash whatsoever." It's hard for me to not get emotional or charged about this. Even after she made the decision to compete, there were a lot of folks, the keyboard warriors, and even journalists writing articles saying, what soul searching is she doing? What is she trying to prove? The one guy, I'm not even going to say his name because it's not even worth it, but he was like, she's beautiful and smart and already a millionaire. Why is she trying? This is a journalist, folks.
Yeah.
You would not say that about a man.
No.
And the fact that societally we continue to feel the need to comment on what a woman decides to do with her body is atrocious.
Yeah.
And I was so fired up over the weekend. And this was, again, before she crashed.
Yep.
Now you've got a bunch of knuckleheads out there saying she should have never done it. And of course this was going to happen. No, it wasn't. If you watch, and just like she just said in her quote, the crash had zero to do with her knee. She caught a gate.
Yep.
It was unfortunate.
Twisted around.
We watched it happen a couple different ways. she caught the gate in the air, which means she had no way to leverage herself against the spin that was going to create.
Yep.
I guarantee you, if she had been able to leverage against the spin, she probably would have stayed on her skis and she would have been pushing off that left knee.
Yeah.
But she is an elite athlete. She is a professional.
Yep.
She knows her limits. She knows how to play through pain. She knows how to do all of those things.
Yep.
One of the other best things that I saw was a guy putting out a tweet or some social media post. And he's like, I am a, certified doctor of physical therapy, blah, 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 blah. And here's my opinion on what happened with Lindsey Vonn. I don't have one.
Yes, exactly.
Because I am not Lindsey Vonn's doctor and I am not Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah. That is how everybody should have responded. It goes to all of the things about a woman's right to choose what to do with her own body. And we do not need to comment on it.
No.
She gets to make that choice. If she had successfully done her run and won a medal, everybody would have been like, oh, let's celebrate her, right? But because she crashed, now we're like discrediting her choices. It was brave of her to step into that starting gate. Let's celebrate that.
That's like what we were talking about over the weekend is like any man, LeBron James, that's who I don't know, this went into my brain right away is like, they would have called him brave. They would have said playing on a ruptured ACL in the finals is so brave. Like, and I don't understand why such a big double standard there. Like, it's so insane how people think they have to have these opinions about women athletes.
Yes. And I do understand because it's how it's always been for women. I wish Lindsey Vonn the best recovery. I know she has to have multiple surgeries. She has a complex tibial fracture, horrible injury, horribly painful. But she is truly an inspiration. She's an incredible human being, fantastic athlete. I wish her all the best.
Yeah.
So
it's a bummer it had to end that way.
Bummer it had to end that way, but honestly, she's left us with so many great things over the years that she didn't owe anyone anything.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to say about that.
All right. Quick medal roundup. Even as of Monday evening, we're only at 2 medals for Team USA overall, not just women overall. The team figure skating, like we said, won gold. And then we had women's downhill. Lindsey Vonn's teammate Breezy Johnson.
Yep, in that same race.
Won that same one. It was fun to watch that with the girls and just marvel at the 70 miles an hour that they were going.
We haven't even talked about the fact that these women are hurtling themselves down a hill at 80 miles an hour.
And we're like, girls, that's how fast we go in our car on the highway. Like
rarely.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we've got what's yet to come with the Olympics. Michaela Schifrin, skiing team combined competition would be, if you're listening to this on Wednesday, it was yesterday on Tuesday. We have women's Super G on Thursday, the 12th at 4:30. The giant slalom on Sunday, the 15th in the afternoon, and then the women's slalom Wednesday, the 18th in the afternoon. And we found out all the differences between the slalom, giant slalom, and Super G. I actually don't remember
downhill.
all of them. And
downhill is the fastest because it's not the sharpest of turns. So that's just all about speed.
It's more technical.
Yes.
The further you go.
Yes. So that it just gets more technical, basically, the way you work your way down.
All right.
That list that you just read.
Women's snowboard halfpipe, Chloe Kim qualifiers on Wednesday by the time this episode airs. And then the finals will be midday on Thursday, the 12th.
Yeah, you want to go watch that.
Yeah, for sure.
She's going for a record, 3 golds in a row.
Kristen Santos Griswold, short track speed skating, 500 meters on Thursday. And I think it's actually the qualifications and the finals on the same day.
Okay.
So they do that early in the morning, and then the afternoon is the finals. 3:30 a.m. Central for the qualifications, finals at 2:31 p.m. Central. All right, we got women's ice hockey, Canada versus Finland on Thursday, the 12th at 7:30 a.m. This is rescheduled.
Yeah, rescheduled because Finland fell ill with the norovirus.
So that
couldn't put a team on the ice.
Yeah. And then Friday at 9:40, we don't know the games yet, but it's the start of the playoffs for the women's hockey. Quarterfinals on Friday, semifinals by Monday.
Yep.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, mixed doubles, curling final. It will have happened by the time you're listening to this. We're Team Corey and Corey. Corey Dropkin and
Corey TC.
TC is how it's pronounced. Are both competitors from our home state up in Duluth.
Yeah.
We have women's curling prelims on Thursday as well. We still need to look into how they decide on the teams on this. Like, I could not get the information on which folks. I don't know if they picked their teams.
No one knows.
No one knows.
Just go watch it. It's fun.
Yeah, they've got a bunch starting on Thursday. Yeah, it's like 2 games on
like
Thursday.
They to play 8 matches.
Yeah, a game on Friday, a match on Saturday, and then semifinals starting next Friday. Ski mountaineering. What? You put this on here as new event.
It's a new event in these winter
here?
games. So they actually have to climb up a mountain and then go down a mountain, and they have little skins on their skis to help them go up.
Okay.
In their skis, not like rappelling.
They're wearing the skis going up the mountain. All right. All right. That's Thursday.
So if you want to watch something new,
we're gonna put that in the phone.
You can watch that.
All right. We are going to attempt to wrap this up with what we're watching.
Besides the Olympics.
Besides the Olympics. We're out of the Olympics now. We have the unrivaled one-on-one tourney starting the day that this airs, Wednesday evening at 7 Central. They'll play again Friday at 7:30 Central, and then finishing up Saturday evening at 6 Central. So this is a 32-player single elimination bracket.
Yes.
Final round is best of 3. Half court setup, first to 11 points, or the highest score at 10 minutes. And I think in the final round it is 7 points.
Best of 3. Yeah.
But best of 3, exactly. This is where we get into the fun rules section.
Yes.
7-second shot clock.
Oh, you got to go.
And make it and take it rule, where if you make your shot, you get the ball back.
Yeah.
So like you got to play some defense here.
Yeah.
You got to try and get that ball away. And we have the champion getting $200,000, the runner-up getting $50,000, and then $25,000 to each of the 2 semifinalists.
And then don't forget that the teammates of the winner each get 10 grand.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Forgot about that.
So that's super cool. I am so excited to watch.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. We won't get into it. They have like different pods set up for the different sides of the bracket. It's really interesting.
Well, maybe we'll bring it into next week's episode.
This might be the biggest game prior to the tournament for NCAA women's basketball.
Yeah.
Number 3 South Carolina at number 6 LSU this Saturday, the 14th at 7:30 p.m. Central on ABC.
Yeah.
Dawn Staley versus Kim Mulkey. Just a classic
Saturday,
matchup.
did you say?
I believe it's Saturday evening.
All right, cool. We're locking in for that.
Yeah.
Kim Mulkey.
We also, the other storyline here is Malaysia Fuwili. Is that
pronounce
that right?
Fuwili,
left South Carolina after 2 seasons and transferred to LSU last off season. She's second on the team with points with 13.4 points per game. So we have like a little bit of an interesting game going on here.
I like that.
All right, moving on to NCAA hockey. Number 2 Ohio State hosting number 3 Minnesota. Minnesota's down a few players while they're at the Olympics. So this is a chance, if Ohio State can kind of put some pressure on Minnesota, 3 or 4 point leads, and Penn State is playing an unranked RIT and they're number 4. So you have a chance for, if Penn State can really pile on to RIT and Ohio State can kind of it's not an upset because they're number 2 right now, but if they can put a lot of points on Minnesota, you might see Minnesota slide back into that 4 slot and Penn State potentially move up, depending on, it would have to be a rout by Ohio State and an absolute destruction.
I appreciate your analysis, honey, but I cannot believe that you are even suggesting that the Buckeyes should beat the Gophers.
I'm not suggesting it. I'm saying these are the outcomes that could happen.
Get that out of here.
All right. That is Friday at 5 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m. on Big Ten Plus. Here's a new one that I did not know about that we might have to check in on. The WTA 1000 in Doha.
Oh, yes.
Which is, my understanding, one of the most prestigious non-Grand Slam tennis events throughout the year. The quarterfinals start on Thursday, semifinals on Friday, and finals are on Saturday. It's all on the Tennis Channel, and it's just whenever you can catch it because it's in Doha, and it's a ton of different events going on all at once. So
yeah, when it's just like middle of the day.
Yeah, probably middle of the day. Yeah. So, and then we have the start of I think there's already been one round. I think this is another set of games for the first round. UEFA Women's Champions League knockout phase playoffs, leg one. Wolfsburg playing Juventus at 11:45 a.m. on Thursday the 12th, and then I just have all the fun ones. Atleti. It's just Atleti.
Oh.
Playing Man United at 2 p.m. on Thursday. These are on Paramount Plus or the DAZN network for free on YouTube.
All right.
And that is what we got for what to watch this week.
No shortage of women's sports to watch this weekend. I did see before we got on to record tonight, for those local to the Minneapolis area, a bar of their own. It's a women's sports bar. They have a whole like all day long watch schedule for all the things that we just talked about. Amazing. The basketball, the Olympics, the unrivaled one-on-one tournament. So if you want to go find a spot to go watch the game and go support a local business out in the community who has been doing a ton of good as this year has started. Yeah. I mean, all the time, but specifically right now, go check out a bar of their own. We still need to make it over there. Never been there. So one day.
All right. We'll get there. One day. All right. We got winners and losers. I want to, oh, you know what? I just realized who you might have as your loser. So I really want to hear this.
Okay. I'm really curious if this is going to be what. I feel like it's probably obvious who my loser is. Yeah. But my loser is every single person who has decided that they need to comment on what Lindsey Vonn is or isn't doing with her body or her skiing or whatever. Yeah. Knock it off.
Take your opinion, write it down on a piece of paper.
Stick it in a drawer.
Fold it up 10 times and stick it in a drawer. That's the nice way to say that.
Yes. That's my loser. All of you.
I think I had two losers. It was the same loser as last week, the LPGA. Just that whole from a different angle this week of like the last time it was just seemed ridiculous. This week it's like thinking about it's like you're the commissioner. It's January. I know it's Florida, but it's January. You had no contingency.
Yeah.
You're supposed to know, like you're supposed to have a contingency or somebody on the ground to tell you that it's fine or it's like it just feels like for somebody who's supposed to be the man, right? Like didn't have a contingency plan.
I'm not going to say it, ladies, but
everyone just saw it if you're watching the YouTube
video. Maybe I'll say it.
But then the other one was the Chicago Sky stuff. Just seems like not the right time to do that right now.
No, and like devaluing the franchise, like that's not a good time.
Not a good time.
Ever doing that, but especially not right now.
Yeah. All right, we'll end on our winners.
On the flip side, I know this is annoying, but go look at how Lindsey Vonn has responded to some of these people. Like the way she's responded.
Is she in the comments?
On comments or X or wherever people do things these days. But she's had a couple where she's like, you don't know me. Like, get out of my space. And she's done it with such like a more graceful than I have tonight on this episode. With just like grace and poise, but a little bit of bite because these people deserve a little bit of bite. Back off. Yeah. And so winner for that and holding her ground, right? She does that. People are also going to scream like, oh, she's so mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. And it's like, no, she's just defending her position. She is making the right choice for her. But also, honestly, seeing her at that start gate on the torn ACL with the brace knee, about to go do the thing at 41, all the things, despite having all the success
Yeah.
that she has had, because she loves to ski.
Yeah.
It almost brought me to tears.
Yeah.
So
Well, I almost actually, I remember when we watched that run, watching her start, and I was just like,
this is a legend.
I might cry that we're watching a legend do one of her last runs ever.
Yeah.
And then it just, the way that ended, you're like, it just felt so,
Sucked.
yeah, like just so many emotions happening all at once there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, she is a winner. She's handling it amazingly.
She's the GOAT.
I had the Denver Summit and their
It's
40,000
a good one.
ticket sales. That is phenomenal. Like that is just
phenomenal.
It is crazy to think that. I think if they brought any team anywhere to have 40,000
in your first game,
ever. Game. Yeah. Like,
ever. That's a game, folks. One game that they sold 40,000 tickets to. It's not like the season.
I'm thinking even like to sell out a 20,000 person ice arena for a new hockey team would be insane.
Yeah.
Like
basketball, professional basketball is about 20 to 24,000 capacity, usually 17 to 24.
Yeah. They're my winners.
Yeah. And we are going to try to get ourselves.
We're going to try and get to one of those in Denver. Yeah.
So excited. Yeah, that's a huge win. Love to see all the momentum. Love to see the commitment from these broadcast organizations, all kinds of things. So lots of good stuff this week. We will be back next week, probably with more Olympics.
Yep, more Olympics.
But we will do a little 1v1 Unrivaled, and we're getting close to March Madness.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be crazy. I think we're going to have probably 2 more weeks of Olympics, actually, because...
We for sure will.
Yeah.
Because it goes all the way through.
We'll have to do a recap.
We will.
All right.
100%. All right. Thanks for joining us this week. Appreciate you being here. Till next week.
Yeah. Check us out on socials, RTG_pod, Instagram, and Threads.
And
YouTube, if you want to check out the video version.
Yeah. Go watch us there.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, comment.
All those fun things.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.